At the break of dawn, Eldbar stands on the edge of oblivion. The last great city of the East, a fortress carved from ancient stone, prepares to face the storm. For generations, its walls have held back the encroaching darkness, a beacon of hope against the shadows. But today, the wind carries a chill that seeps into the bones of even the bravest soldiers. Flags tattered from past battles whip in the morning breeze. The walls, scarred and cracked, bear witness to a long and brutal history. Down below, on the battlements and in the courtyards, warriors clad in steel make their final preparations. They sharpen blades, string bows, and murmur quiet prayers to gods they hope are still listening. Each face is a mask of grim determination, hiding the fear that gnaws at their hearts. They know what is coming. The air is thick with anticipation, so heavy you can almost taste it. This is not just another battle, it is a fight for survival. This is the moment where legends are forged or forgotten. Eldbar is ready for its final stand. From the depths of the fog, the Shadow Legion marches. They are an army born from nightmares, a tide of pure malice rolling across the land. At first they are just silhouettes, ghostly shapes moving through the mist. But as they draw closer, their terrifying forms become clear. Monstrous creatures with too many limbs and glowing, malevolent eyes stalk forward. Twisted banners bearing symbols of despair and chaos flap silently in the wind. There is no sound of drums, no battle cry, only the muffled, rhythmic tramp of countless feet and claws on the damp earth. This is not an army of men. It is a force of nature, a plague sent to devour the world of light. They are relentless, silent, and seemingly unstoppable. Every step they take is a promise of destruction, a vow to extinguish the last embers of hope. For the defenders of Eldbar, this is the face of their doom, a living, breathing tide of darkness, intent on swallowing them whole. Eldric rises to command. He walks along the battlements, his presence a source of strength for the anxious warriors. His gaze is steady, his resolve unshakable. He has seen the horrors of war, but he has never known defeat. As he moves among his soldiers, he offers a firm grip on his shoulder, a nod of encouragement, a word of inspiration. He is not just their commander, it's their brother, their shield, their last hope. In his hand he grips the sword of night, an ancient blade forged in starlight and shadow. The runes etched into its steel begin to glow with a faint ethereal light, humming with an energy that resonates with the coming conflict. The sword seems to burn with an ancient purpose, a power that has waited centuries for this very moment. Eldric is more than just a man holding a weapon. He is a legend reborn, a king ready to defend his people, no matter the cost. His destiny is intertwined with the fate of Eldbar, and he will not let it fall. The first strike falls like thunder. Siege engines of the Shadow Legion unleash their fury, and the sky darkens with a hail of death. Huge, flaming boulders arc through the air, trailing plumes of black smoke before smashing into Eldabar's ancient walls. The impacts send shockwaves through the stone, and sections of the battlements crumble into dust. Flames erupt across the city, consuming wooden structures and turning homes into infernos. The defenders retaliate, and a storm of arrows flies from the walls, a desperate attempt to slow the enemy's advance. But the Shadow Legion's shields, forged from some unholy metal, shatter the arrows as if they were twigs. The air fills with the shriek of incoming projectiles, the roar of explosions, and the screams of the wounded. With every blow that lands, with every crumbling stone, hope begins to fracture. Onslaught is relentless, but brutal. Overwhelming display of power designed to break both the city and the spirit of its defenders. The wall breaks. A massive section of the main gate, weakened by the relentless bombardment, finally collapses in a deafening roar of splintering wood and shattering stone. For a moment, there is a stunned silence, broken only by the crackling of fires. Then, a monstrous wave of enemy creatures pours through the breach. Chaos floods the city streets as the Shadow Legion swarms into the heart of Eldbar. The fight is no longer at a distance. It is a brutal, close-quarters battle for every inch of ground. The clang of steel meeting shadow echoes through the narrow alleyways. Swords, axes, and spears clash against twisted claws and otherworldly armor. It is a storm of blood and fire, a desperate, swirling melee where friend and foe are almost indistinguishable in the smoke and confusion. Every defender fights with the fury of a cornered animal, knowing that to retreat is to die. The fate of Eldbar now rests on the edge of a blade. Just as all hope seems lost, a new sound cuts through the din of battle. The triumphant blast of war horns from the north. From the smoke and fire, a column of riders emerges, their armor gleaming in the dim light. At their head is Queen Lysara, her expression a mask of cold fury. She has arrived with her cavalry, a force renowned for its speed and ferocity. They are the queen who refuses to surrender her realm to darkness. With a powerful cry, she leads the charge, her horse thundering across the ravaged ground. Her knights follow, a wave of steel and courage crashing into the flank of the Shadow Legion. Their charge is a thunderbolt, scattering the enemy ranks and providing a desperately needed reprieve for Eldbar's beleaguered defenders. The arrival of Lysara and her riders is a beacon of hope in the darkest hour, a sign that Eldbar does not fight alone. Together, their forces strike back. The arrival of Lysara's cavalry breathes new life into the defenders. Inspired by their queen's courage, the soldiers of Eldbar rally, pushing back against the tide of shadows with renewed vigor. As the two armies merge into one, ancient magic, long dormant within the city's foundations, awakens. Runes carved into the very stones of the streets and buildings begin to ignite, pulsing with a brilliant, protective light. At the center of it all, Eldric raises the Sword of Night high above his head. The blade erupts in a blinding wave of pure energy, a searing light that tears through the darkness and incinerates the creatures of the Shadow Legion. The combined might of steel, magic, and sheer unyielding courage becomes the last defiance of Eldbar. They are no longer just defending their city, they're taking the fight to the enemy, determined to drive the darkness back into the abyss from which it came. The siege ends, but victory tastes of ashes. Faced with the combined power of Eldric's magic and Lysara's cavalry, the Shadow Legion falters. Their relentless advance grinds to a halt, and for the first time, they begin to retreat, melting back into the fog from which they came. A ragged cheer rises from the defenders, but it is short-lived. As the sun fully rises, it illuminates a scene of utter devastation. The proud city of Eldbar is now a smoking ruin. Its mighty walls are breached, its towers are toppled, and its streets are littered with the bodies of both friends and foes. The survivors weary,